You know how hard it is to find someone who plays Club Penguin Island and have a decent conversation with? It's really rare.
Yeah, I don't understand. I honestly wanted to do this because, I was kind of feeling like I'm not sure who else there was. And yeah, I just thought, might as well.
Hello! My name is Ariel, and you're listening to Never Have I Ever, a podcast about experiences I never had. Welcome to episode 8 of this podcast series. So if you're just joining us, feel free to subscribe as new episodes come out each week. You can also follow us on social media at NHIE_pod on Twitter and Instagram, and NHIE pod on Facebook. This is part 4 of the Club Penguin case study, as this week, I'm here to tell you that never have I ever understood Club Penguin Island. Dear God, I'm gonna get blocked for this. Club Penguin Island. Yeah, I know how you feel about the game. For the common folk, you may think it's just another game that no longer exists. For others, it's that one game that tried to replace the original. And for some, it was an attempt for something new. While this game had lots of comments and criticisms, along with some praise, I stopped playing Club Penguin due to high school and university commitments, alongside with some nostalgia with the original. This meant that I missed out on Island, and I got backlash from fans due to this. They think me quitting Club Penguin equals I hate the game or no longer showed support. Some didn't understand that I had to grow up and move on to do other things, and now they won't talk to me or give me a decent conversation. And I say this because back in the day, asking why was Club Penguin Island cool sounded like an insult, and stating your opinion led to being blocked. But I really want to know why people played it. How is it enjoyable when there was so many microtransactions and restrictions back in the early days? What made it fun? And why do you think I may have missed out on it? Joining me is Club Penguin user Blue21102. He runs Marshmallow Studios, a Club Penguin community film group, and has been recreating stage plays from the original Club Penguin. He joins me as we have a peaceful discussion about Club Penguin Island, as he's the only one who's willing to speak about this, as a lot of Club Penguin Island players blocked me on Twitter. Full disclosure, I didn't message a bunch of remaining players who were following me on Twitter or anything. I just put out a shout out on social media, and this guy just messaged me and saying that he's interested. So it's really, really awesome to know that there are people out there who's willing to talk about this. Because I have lots of thoughts about this game, and I'm sure that these guys have lots of thoughts as well. So I just wanted to find a middle ground. See where we could agree, and see where we couldn't. And hopefully, we could find a peaceful conclusion based on our responses. So, what were your initial reactions when you heard Club Penguin Island was going to be a thing during the time when the original was going to be shut down back in 2018? Not 2018, 2017. I'm getting my timeline wrong.
Oh, well, to be honest, I'm not that good with dates either. I was pretty excited. It was Project Super Secret at the time, wasn't it? During that time, Club Penguin was feeling a little stale to me. Yeah, I think it was clear that the team were putting their effort into something else, which was Project Super Secret or Club Penguin Island. But I was excited, really excited. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but I had a feeling it would be like the sequel, I guess, to Club Penguin, and it was just something new. And I thought, it would bring the community to new heights, just because we were going through a bit of a drought at the time with a lot of takeovers, and that they weren't really well received amongst the Twitter community.
So your experience with the original game was boring now, that when you heard, oh, this could be a new sequel or a new version of Club Penguin or something exciting is happening, you're just I hope it just gives new flavor to what Club Penguin is?
Yeah, that's basically it. I just like the potential. And I thought, okay, Club Penguin wasn't really big in media, like not many people were talking about it, and I was thinking maybe this could change that. Yeah, and getting the spotlight once again.
During the first 3 to 6 months, did Club Penguin Island reach your general expectation to what the perfect, or not really perfect, what your expected sequel or that excitement or whatever you were hoping for a new or better Club Penguin game would be?
I'd say the development of the game was slower than I anticipated. I guess when it came out, I had pretty high expectations, and those were met to some extent. But compared to something like Club Penguin, where they had the monthly parties, they had weekly updates. Club Penguin Island was completely different to that. So it was difficult to adjust. A lot of the time, you'd log on, and perhaps there weren't as many opportunities. You feel like going on it again. I mean, once you'd finished a couple of the adventures, they only had like two sets of adventures on there, which are filled with different episodes with the new mascots. And so those were the only really those are the big things in the game at the time. And I guess you can complete those quite quickly. And so yeah, there wasn't much else. I can't remember how long it was before they updated. It was a bit slow. And I was thinking maybe it's just because it's a different game entirely. It's 3D, and yeah, I was expecting things to pick up a bit as we went down, and it did to some extent. But yeah, it was just a bit of a rocky launch, and I think that's just because of how it wasn't too well received from the community, and maybe that caused some complications behind the scenes. I'm not too sure.
Well, I was reading stuff on the Club Penguin Island website, and it was made using Photoshop, Unity Engine, and probably some other coding development programs that I may have forgot or unaware of. So I think that might have added to why it might be slow. Unlike Club Penguin, it's mostly Flash player. And I did play Club Penguin Island for like a week when it first came out, like literally the first week. And I was saying, okay, let's try to give this a shot. What can I do around here as a non-member? Because I'm a broke college kid, I am not paying for membership yet. And there's really, at the first, like literally the first week, there's literally not a lot you can do unless you pay. You want to eat food? Better pay up. You want to do some other episodes? Better pay up. You want to do some other stuff? Better pay up. And I'm just like, why, Disney? Why?
Yeah, to be honest, I completely forgot about the whole membership thing. Yeah, I had the free trial to begin with, but I was a non-member quite a lot to start with, and yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, you had to be a member to sit down in some areas. So yeah,
What?
it was definitely some questionable things. I think that's just basically kind of a testament to, I guess, how lacking the game was in some areas. But I was thinking, okay, well, surely as the game grew, it would, they would start giving non-members more privileges, and that did happen. Maybe it happened quite slowly, too slowly for some people.
Yeah, in my honest opinion, I think the 1 year mark where they brought it to the computer, so they have a desktop version of the game, and the point where you can non-members can play the mini games and eat limited amount of food and buy limited amount of furniture. I think that should have been what how the game should have launched, in my honest opinion. That way, I would be like, oh, okay, there's some things I can do. They're not all that money hungry. Yeah, I can't buy clothes. Hey, but that's usual. At least I can sit down now. Oh, I can eat now. At least, oh, I can play now, not just waddle around and do nothing. I'm just surprised that they didn't ban talking. Like, talking is not a microtransaction. If that's the case, we're going to EA level territories, you know?
Yeah, I guess I do appreciate to some extent the seamless transition from Club Penguin to Club Penguin Island, and yeah, I mean it happened very, very seamlessly. Like it launched just a few hours before Club Penguin shut down. I guess to keep the momentum and they wanted as many people to come across Club Penguin Island, and maybe they could have waited to release it until PC because that's literally the platform I play on most of all,
Yeah.
or rather did play on. But I just don't know how long Club Penguin was going to survive. I don't know if it was up to them, if it was Disney, but maybe they would have waited a bit longer, but they couldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the timing was also a problem. Like, Club Penguin was literally everyone's childhood, and for like the casual player or people who are not in communities, the fact that oh, there's gonna be a mobile game that's gonna be replacing Club Penguin, and we cannot do anything except walk around, it kind of felt like a stabbing in a sense. Like, you're giving us this and you're expecting us to pay more when we just lost something that was like a key element to our childhoods. So I think that's why a lot of players first gave like so much backlash to the game, like when it first launched. It's because I think the timing was wrong. There was limited things that we can do, and it just felt like it wasn't the same. And I think one of the most common criticisms about CPI from both fans and staff is that Club Penguin Island is missing something that made Club Penguin the way it is. Most knowingly, some say that it's the fact that it's mostly single player that made it lose its community touch. Yeah, you can talk to people, but you cannot do the episodes together. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's completely understandable. Club Penguin has a huge legacy, and I felt like, yeah, Club Penguin Island, maybe it wasn't what we all wanted it to be. And I think the way I went about it, I just had to kind of think of it as a completely different game in the same franchise. And I would, I really wanted Club Penguin to continue if it were to keep on entertaining us. But with the drought of content, that was kind of why I was really behind this Club Penguin Island idea. But I was kind of thinking, okay, well, they're going things differently. We've got adventures. It's more like, as you were saying, almost like a single player thing in a world where that's ironically more interactive, I think, than the original Club Penguin. And I think that's one of the huge advantages of it. And also, I think games don't stick to one mold. I think it takes time, and maybe the developers were, trying to figure it out as they were going along. And I think the game would have shaped up to be something quite different had it still been running. I think I could say the same about Club Penguin. I never played it from the very beginning, but I'm sure, it had that charm right from the beginning, I'm sure.
I don't know if you're aware, but there tends to be a divide between the OG and Club Penguin Island fans. Like, literally, the moment I joined the community back in 2018, I was somewhat warned on Discord to interact with any of the Club Penguin Island hardcore fans. Some of the problems, in air quotes, that they told me were, there were people who played during the final month before the closure, and there's like constant gatekeeping and favorism of players. There's like that, favorism, gatekeeping, great divide, to the point where it's like, I think that's another reason why a few people might have been turned off about Club Penguin Island. It's because of stuff like that, or even the Club Penguin community in general. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And why do you think there's like a divide? Because I need to know why people are like so defensive on a kid's game.
I'm not sure what my stance is, because I understand that people are very protective over Club Penguin Island, and I think it was also maybe more about the team than the game. And I guess for some people, it might seem like it's their responsibility, I guess, to support the Kelowna team in their next game, and maybe they felt a bit salty when people joined, even though they didn't start support from the beginning. But I'm not sure if I kind of agree with that. I think it's important that you welcome as many new players as possible, and I always loved it when people joined, and I think it was unfortunate that there was a divide. I think I understand it, and I think it really just comes from a lot of passionate players just clashing with each other. I just think it's unfortunate, really, that there's not more conversation about it instead of people blocking, and I think people have the right to block.
I think the community and how Club Penguin Islands are, like the things that we talked about earlier, might have been the reasons why people might have been thrown off by playing that, the Club Penguin sequel, so to speak. And surely there are some good things about the game and the community. Like, an example is what you do. You started Marshmallow Studios, where you united the community to recreate place from the original game, and you like allowed people to join you. It doesn't matter when you started or whatever. You just like, we want actors to join in. We want to create this huge fan project, and I think that's what made Club Penguin awesome in the first place. It's the whole community banding together. It's listening to what the community is. So what are some of the good things that Club Penguin Island brought into both the community and the game?
So yeah, maybe Club Penguin Island didn't have much going for it in terms of kind of game features, but I think it had a lot of tools that really elevated the community experience if you kind of put your mind to it and make use of those tools. And I think some of those are, first of all, like the animations of the penguins and the fact you're able to move in 3D environment in itself. You know, the things you can get up to in the game can be slightly more varied, perhaps, than it was on the original game. Big things like igloos, where you literally create your own mini worlds, basically. Yeah, you can create a meetup themed on anything based on what you build in your igloo. And, you know, so for me, I built the theatre igloo where we were able to put on some shows, different events. You know, those really bring the community together. And yeah, the clothing customizer, if you can create events that are themed around particular costumes. So, and the clothing customizer is so limitless in lots of ways. So you could really do a lot if you kind of put the work into it. And as someone who's I've always loved just, you know, doing things with the community. So that kind of hasn't been too difficult for me. And I kind of, that's the thing I go straight to when I play a game. I'm kind of thinking, what can I do with this? That's different. What can I do to have fun? And yeah, and I'm trying to think of other examples. There's just like so many things, like the interactables, the fireworks, party blasters. Like you can even create like a really cool fireworks display. And if you get, obviously if you have lots of people on at the same time, but something like that could be a really special moment, and then you could start to appreciate Club Penguin Island a bit more. But it really does rely on that community spirit.
I remember watching that New Horizons documentary that they made like back in the old Club Penguin day, and one thing that kind of got, one thing that stuck with my mind as we had this conversation is them saying that, oh, we give you the tools, now do something with it. And I think that's what Club Penguin provided, but I think they kind of missed one thing, which is like, it's about the community, it's about listening to the audiences. And I don't know, maybe they did listen to the audience and they were like, okay, let's add this and that, but I don't know if the timing was the problem. I think they were listening, it's just the timing was the issue. I think that was the main issue, actually. It's basically timing. I feel bad now, but it's like, what can you do? It's like, you cannot control time, and you can't control how things are developed, you know?
Yeah, I have to say, like, I think it was just, yeah, unlucky timing. That's a big issue for so many games, I think. And maybe it didn't help with how successful Club Penguin was. But I'm glad Club Penguin was successful. I'd rather it be that way. Yeah, like you said from the New Horizons documentary, I think they continued with that mission of listening to the players, giving them the tools. And there were definitely elements and hints of that. You know, on the blog, they do polls of things we get to include in the game. And maybe it didn't feel like they were listening as much, maybe because the whole like community management things were a bit quieter with Ireland, I guess. Like, so maybe that was the issue. Maybe it didn't feel like we were being heard as much. I think they were deep down, and it was a lot of timing issues. And I don't know if the team were having the best time, you know, with the whole like, you know, they were probably thought it would turn out better than anticipated, and obviously they had hoped it would be until kind of Disney decided no. But yeah, I'm not sure really what to think about that. It's just unlucky, and you know, I feel bad for the team. I don't think they deserved what Disney did to them. But I don't want to blame the people who kind of didn't like the game, because people have a right to not like the game. So I feel like maybe it's just because of how unfortunate it is for the team. Lots of people take it out on others who didn't play the game. So maybe that's why there's this whole divide and saltiness.
Let's say we live in an alternate universe where Club Penguin Island is still a thing, it's still playing, it's it's same features as before the final month, but no puffles yet. They're still working on that. If you were to advertise the game, if it was still running in this alternate timeline, why should Club Penguin Island be worth trying out or worth playing?
Right, so I think the biggest thing Club Penguin Island had going for it, there'd be a whole lot more emphasis on customization. So, giving the players giving the tools to the players to create what they want. So maybe they would have come up with another designer for, igloo furniture, so maybe you could customize more in that respect. And I think, I would definitely emphasize the whole igloos thing, and that's really what drew me into the game before it shut down. And I think a lot more could have been done with it to really distinguish it from other games. It's almost like a sandbox in a way. It's almost like Minecraft. And so I just think customization would be the emphasis if I was marketing it.
I wish they heavily emphasized on that, but instead it's like, oh yeah, meet new adventures, meet your friends, which is like, the original Club Penguin slogan, and familiarity works well, but this is a different game, and this is like, it's still Club Penguin, but it's not the same Club Penguin, and like we mentioned earlier, it's like, it's mostly a single player experience. So if they did mention, oh yeah, you can, customize your heart out, I think they did that. I have to watch the promotional material again. That would have been great, but I think they just been promoting, it's Club Penguin on your phone, slightly different experience, but sort of the same at the same time. But I don't know. Do you have like any final things you would like to say about Club Penguin Island or the community or anything in general?
Yeah, in spite of all the drama that seems to be happening between the different player bases of Club Penguin, whether you're from Club Penguin Island or the private servers or even box critters, I think it's just to remember there's so many different people with different opinions out there, and really if you all nail it down to one thing, is that the people that are clashing the most are the most passionate players. And really, we can see that in a different light and think of it as a good thing. And, I think it just shows how big the legacy of Club Penguin is. There's so many people who care about its legacy and they want the community to carry on. And lots of people are carrying that legacy in different ways. And it doesn't matter what game you're on. And I just think it's important for people to remember that and just be content with your own opinion and respect other people's opinions. And just remember how great the community spirit is of Club Penguin, because that's really what made the original game so successful.
Club Penguin Island had potential to be the next big thing, or possibly a successor to the original. Whilst I understand why the change happened, I think it was the timing and the early restrictions that drew a lot of people off. If Club Penguin Island had more time to be built and was launched with the features that the community wanted, maybe I would have still played the game. But instead, I missed out. And not gonna lie, I'm okay with that. I just hope others are as well. I would like to thank Blue for joining me in this wonderful conversation, as it was great to talk to someone who was open-minded about the topic. You can follow him on Twitter at Blue21102, and there will be a link on his bio on how you can follow Marshmallow Studios. My name is Ariel, and this has been another episode of Never Have I Ever. There are more topics and other missed out experiences I still have to cover. So until then, I'd hope you stick around for the next one. You can follow us on social media at NHIE_pod on Twitter and Instagram, and NHIE_pod on Facebook to view updates and news. Also, while waiting, feel free to listen to an earlier episode of Never Have I Ever or my other podcast, Casual Nerds with Matt, over on YouTube, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys next time.